Let's start with business and immigration law updates. This much-awaited segment of the show is hosted by Chief Attorney at Law at the Khurana Law Firm, Mr. Ramesh Khurana. Here on this set, Attorney Khurana will be accompanied by Dr. Rajesh Nandan Mehra of the Chantilly Family Practice Center. Let's catch Dr. Mehra, who questions Attorney Khurana on visa concepts and their misunderstanding.
Good morning, this is Dr. Rajesh Mehra. I'm happy that you've decided to join us in this immigration update. I'm honored this morning to have with me in the studios, as in the past, Attorney Khurana from the Khurana Law Firm in Rockville, Maryland. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mehra. I'm really grateful to you that you have invited me to your studio this morning, and I'm very pleased to be here.
Excellent. Did you have a busy week this week? A lot of immigration cases?
Yes, of course.
Always, right?
That's part of my practice. I have to stay busy to meet my office expenses.
I think you're a little bit meeting them very well. So we've been talking about H-1Bs, we've been talking about L-1s. It's time to switch sort of area of concern and go into something perhaps a little bit different, but still immigration. And that is about visa. First of all, what is the visa bulletin? And how often is it issued, and is it issued by USIS?
Dr. Mehra, this topic is very, very close to my heart because visa bulletin is the most important document in immigration practice area. Now, visa bulletin, first of all, just to tell you some background of it, this is a document which is issued by the Department of State located in Washington, D.C. And this is issued every month. It's a monthly bulletin, and most of the times it's issued by the 10th of the month. And this document will have forecast of visa availability during the coming month. Let us say you are in the month of April, and by 10th you see a document which is called visa bulletin for the month of May, because whatever numbers or priority dates are given in that document, those are for the coming months. So this document will indicate that who are the people, who are the beneficiaries of various kinds of petitions and applications, who could file their adjustment of status applications if they are sitting in the United States, or if they have asked for consulate or embassy processing, right? Let's say that a person who is sitting here, US citizen, he has filed an I-130 petition for his wife who is sitting in India and waiting for the number to become current. So that will be processed depending upon what priority dates are given in this important document.
So that's where you get that information.
Yes. So this is called a visa bulletin issued every month by 10th of the month.
10th of the month.
Yes.
Now, are there any limitations number-wise for green card or immigrant visa in a year, in a fiscal year? And what is that fiscal year start and end?
Yeah, Dr. Mehra, first of all, the fiscal year starts from October 1, goes up to September 30th. Yes, these numbers are limited in numbers. So that's why there is a concept of priority dates. Now, to tell you, first of all, because audience would like to know, what is the priority date? Now, the employment process starts with the filing of the labor certification request, if it is EB2 category or lower than that, right? So, when a labor certification request has been filed with the US Department of Labor, that particular date becomes the priority date for the purpose of employment category. Now, that date would determine what is your place in the queue to get your green card.
Got it.
You ask me questions whether they are limited numbers. Of course, there are limited numbers. So, for employment categories, every year, now the total green card numbers available are just 140,000. And for family based, there are about 226,000. But if certain numbers are not utilized within the employment category, then these numbers are lost.
But I'm sure they're utilized, right? Why wouldn't they be?
So because of some processing delays. Let me give you an example. Now, in 2012, there were elections, right? So many people applied for naturalization so that they could obtain citizenship and cast their votes. Now, everybody has a right to vote. This is the constitutional right.
Right.
So the priority the priority of the USCIS would be to process those naturalization applications
first,
so that people who are eligible, they could obtain their citizenship and vote. So USCIS has very limited resources. So most of the resources would be focused on processing naturalization applications. So there could be certain delays in processing
the other
adjustment of status applications, to put it that way. So if that happens, even though priority dates have become current during the particular month,
they just
there would be a processing delay. And it happens that sometimes the available numbers of green cards are not released during the year because of processing delays.
Now, is it because the USCIS just has limited budget, limited funding? Because obviously, as you said, there's not enough manpower, not enough resources, that things are always backed up.
You are 100% right. That's why they release what we call is a processing report. There are different service centers of the USCIS. Let us say there are 4 centers: Vermont Service Center, California, Texas, and Nebraska. Now they have their processing times. So they would release those reports and they will tell the people or stakeholders like where we are in regard to processing I-140 petition, in regard to processing I-485, or in regard to processing I-130. So these are just processing delays because they do not have matching staff. They do not have so many employees, like you get an application and you start working on it. It doesn't happen that way.
Sitting there for months.
It doesn't happen that way. Yes. So like we talked about H-1B. So there is a premium processing system.
No, you said
under premium processing, if you are paying an additional fee of $1,225,
they'll do
so
it.
USCIS promises you that we will adjudicate this petition or application within 15 calendar days.
Wow.
So that's the promised time, and it is done. If they are unable to do it, they have to refund $1,225. So that's why they will do it. So for other petitions, for I-140, there is a premium processing. So you can have a decision in 15 days. So unless that kind of facility is available, you have to stand in the queue and wait for the application to be processed.
Now, in addition to the worldwide quota, can a foreign national be subject to a per country limitation? I mean, does India have 30,000 and China have 50, you know, how is it broken down?
Yes, Dr. Mehra, in fact, there is a per country ceiling, which is 7%.
7% of the total?
7% of the total numbers.
Okay.
So per country ceiling cannot go beyond 7%. So that's the reason that priority dates for Indian nationals and Chinese nationals, those are running behind by several years. To give you an example, for EB2 Indian nationals, the priority date is 2006. So September 2006. So we are talking about a delay of about 7 years. There was a time when priority date became current up to May and 2010. Again, it retrogressed. When we say that retrogressed, it went back because the demand for number of applications went up. What happens is, Dr. Mehra, when the State Department situated in Washington, D.C. has to prepare a visa bulletin, now they collect information from all consulates all over the world, like how many applications are ready to move forward, right? Now, based on those numbers, now they will prepare these forecasts in the visa bulletin. Likewise, they get those numbers from the service centers in the United States. So it's a combination of getting demand from the US service centers and the consulates, then they decide those visa numbers. And they get that information by 8th of the month. Then within next 2 days, US State Department would issue the visa bulletin.
And then you'll be able to advise your clients.
Yes.
as to what the
Yes.
numbers and what their chances are of getting through.
Exactly. So that will tell us, like next month, what applications or petitions can be processed. Otherwise, there are situations when, let's say that final stage is I-1485, which is called the adjustment of status. You cannot file I-1485 unless the priority date is current. So if I see the bulletin, then next month priority date is going to be current for so and so person, I would caution that person, be ready. So start gathering your documents, and maybe that person has to get the medical examination. I will say, go to Dr. Mehra or some other hospital, get your medical report, so that you keep your medical report ready.
Ready to go.
Yes, and keep your other documents ready, and we will be able to file your adjustment of status. So when we file the adjustment of status, we file along with that even the employment authorization and advance parole documents, so that this package, whole package goes together.
Is ready.
Yes, but goes only when the priority date as per visa bulletin has become current.
Right, right. As you had mentioned earlier, it can take many years to obtain the green card pending the priority date, because that's what sets everything in motion.
Yes, you know, again priority date, but I have seen, let's say persons coming from Nepal, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, I am talking about South Asian people. Now they get their green cards very quickly, because there is not so much demand from these countries as opposed to
India,
demand which
China.
you get from India and China. So we process applications for Nepali citizens who are here on H-1B, and once the labor certification is done, I-140 is approved and priority date is current, and they get the green card in 2 months, 3 months. They say, oh my God, was it so easy?
So it is country dependent.
It's country dependent. That's why you asked the question, is there any country ceiling?
Right, there
and
is.
I said yes, 7% are the numbers.
Right.
So for Nepal, even 7% may not be utilized under the employment category.
Right.
You know, still numbers are available.
Right.
So that's the kind of situation we are talking about.
I hope that this discussion today has shed light on why it takes so long to get a green card, the different complexity, the different pathways. Join us again next week when we will continue talking about these and other very interesting topics on immigration law. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mehra, for inviting me to your studios.
You're welcome.
And I always look forward to being here. And last but not the least, I will advise the audience, please talk to your competent immigration lawyer if you have any questions about your pending petitions or applications. Thank you so much for being with us.